So what do Nelson Mandela, Sylvester Stallone, and Thomas Edison all have in common? The answer might surprise you. Stay tuned. Peace, and as always, cheers, folks. Mark Mihalovic, aka the Flying Health Coach. So, Nelson Mandela, Rocky, aka Sylvester Stallone, and good old Thomas Edison, invented a light bulb. What do they have in common, you might ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. And all of this life-changing stuff is actually simple. Just applying it kind of sucks. But point is, what they had in common was the formula to success in life. And there's four, maybe five if you want to divide it up into five, but there's four key steps with that success formula. First one is knowing your outcome, right? If you don't know what your outcome is, you're like throwing a dart at a dartboard in a snowstorm. If you don't know what you want in life, you're never going to get there, right? It's kind of like the analogy of if you're trying to see a sunset and you keep running east, you're never going to see a sunset, right? So you have to know your outcome, first and foremost. Two, you have to know why you want it, right? Just because you know outcome, if you don't want it bad enough, you're not going to put massive action into getting it, right? Three, once you know what you want, you implement action, you have to know if that action's working, right? You have to have a system in play to know that if I do X, I will get Y, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting your time, and that's no fun. But the fourth one is the one that I wanted to touch most base on today. We'll do another video on each step individually, but the fourth one is flexibility. You have to be able to change your approach if what you're currently doing isn't working, right? So you have to recognize what you're doing isn't working and then be flexible enough to change it. How many times, you might ask? As many effing times as it takes to get to where you want to go, right? If it doesn't work once, do it again. It doesn't work that time, do it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Hundreds of times, thousands of times, doesn't matter. Take Thomas Edison, for example. 9,999 times of quote-unquote failures before he finally got the light bulb correct, right? Think of Nelson Mandela, right? Locked away for 27 years of his life, or 26, one of the two, 26 or 27. Point is, the time while he was in jail, all he kept thinking about is he's preparing to get out and preparing for what his new life is going to be and how he can make an impact. Then you have Sylvester Stallone, who's going to be the star of our show today, because I want to talk about him the most. And how flexible he was and how he knew what he wanted, he knew his why, and he never took no for an answer. So, again, those four key steps, right? We'll write them down quick, and then I'll do a future video on them individually, but know what your outcome is, okay? Know what your why is so you can take massive action. Know what your strategy is. Know what your game plan is to get to where you want to go. And then four, be flexible enough to change it if you need to. So insert good old Sly, right? Our boy Rocky, aka Sylvester Stallone. So his little backstory, and I'll try to keep this brief, but his backstory is truly really inspiring. So for those of the folks that do not know who Sylvester Stallone is, which God rest your soul if you don't, star of Rocky, right? Rocky series. He's in the Expendables, you know, and for the love of God, why am I blanking on Rambo? Thank you. So in a lot of really big Hollywood hit movies, right? But he didn't start off like that. He started off with nothing, right? He was married, he was broke, he had nothing. But what did he have? He had two key components of the ultimate success formula. He knew exactly what he wanted, which was to be a movie star, and he knew his why. What was his why? Is he wanted to inspire people. He wanted to be a movie star, and he wanted to inspire people to do better for themselves, right? So he had two of the big key ingredients already. Now, when he first started in Hollywood, or first started into movies in general, can you imagine someone who talks like this with like their lip down to the side? I mean, no agent's going to want him. He was rejected was around 1,500 times, right? To finally where he stood outside someone's office for, I think it was like 24 hours, didn't leave until he finally was put into a movie that it was called Paradise something for like 20 seconds. He didn't have a big role at all, but he didn't stop. Now what he did after that, after he got his first break, if you will, he still wasn't getting any movies. He then started writing. He first wrote a book read a book on Edgar Allan Poe, and he talks about how he was inspired by that. But then he started writing screenplays. As the time went, he eventually went to a boxing match, and you can guess where that led to. He wrote a screenplay for Rocky, and as you know, he wanted to be the star. Now, during this time, before this all happened, he was broke beyond belief, was married, had no money. he was paid like $100 for that initial 20-second clip he was in. It eventually got to the point where he had to sell his dog, and his dog was like his best friend. It was the worst. He kind of describes it as one of the worst days of his life. He had to get rid of his best friend for $25 just so he could buy some food or pay some bills or whatever have you, right? But the point is he never let go of why he was doing this, right? He was always trying to take some massive action, even if it hurt. So after that point, again, he's broke right now. He sees a boxing match and he writes a script for Rocky. And now he goes and takes that script to God knows how many people, and he gets rejected God knows how many times, time and time again. Finally, he meets some producers that say, you know what, we love the script, we'll give you $150,000. Guess what he did? Turned it down. Why? Because they would not let him star in the movie. And what was his goal? His goal was to be a movie star and to inspire people. He sold his frickin' dog to do this, for God's sakes, right? But he turned down $150K when all he had was $25 to his name from selling his dog. So, he goes back and goes back and goes back, and the production company comes back again. They say, okay, we'll give you $250K, $250,000 for your script, but you can't star in it. He's like, no, hell no, I'm the star of the movie. I'm not doing this. Turns down $250,000 way back when. It's absolutely insane. Finally, they come back again, offer him $325,000. Again, no. He sticks behind what he wanted to do. He sticks behind his why. And eventually, you can kind of guess what happened for all of you that know Sylvester Stallone, right? It got to the point where the production company just caved and said, all right, you know what? We'll take a risk on you. We'll give you $35,000 so you can star in the movie, but that's all we're doing. So it's one of the most lower budget movies there are, but as you guys know, Rocky ended up grossing millions upon millions of dollars after that fact. Now, the kick-ass part of the story, if you ask me, is when he first got that $35,000, his massive action didn't stop. What did he do? He went back to the laundromat where initially he sold his dog, and he waited there for 3 days. 3 days he waited there to see this guy he sold his dog to. On the third day, right, sure as shit, that guy comes with his dog. When the guy comes with his dog, says, hey, I'll give you $100. I miss my best friend. I want my dog back. I love him. I can't live without him, sort of deal. Turns down $100. Offers him $200, up to $1,000. He keeps turning it down. What does Sylvester Stallone do? He knows in his head, massive action, right? I know my why. I'm going to take massive action. I'm not quitting. He offers the guy $15,000. True story. $15,000 for his dog, plus a part in the movie Rocky, which he's in that movie, plus Sylvester Stallone's dog, the bulldog, is also in that movie. So if you guys are ever stuck in your life and you're thinking that you don't have what it takes to get what you want in life, you're no different than Sylvester Stallone. You're no different than Nelson Mandela or Thomas Edison. You're no different than any of these people. But what's different is their mindset. What's different is they unconsciously knew the formula to success and they applied it every part of their life. You're not different. You can do the exact same thing, right? You just have to understand what it is you want in life, why you want it, take massive action in the moment of a decision, and if what you're doing is not working, be flexible and don't stop. Change your approach, try something new. That's what it takes, folks. Again, I'll do another video probably next week on diving a little bit more in depth with those 4 steps and then put a little bit of a psychology into it. But I thought that was a really awesome story to tell, and I wanted to talk about it on here. So, as always, guys, I actually have a new website on GoDaddy. I'll put the link is currently in my YouTube bio, so click on that if you want to schedule your first free coaching call. Coaching call inquiries will be also on my website, but for now, again, my email, flyinghealthcoach@gmail.com. So you can use that to send me an email if you're interested in coaching. We can get the initial coaching call set up and see if it's a good fit for you. If it is, cool. If it's not, that's cool too. And last but not least, guys, my book, Flying Health Coach, Guide to How to Start to Un-F Your Life. Free download on my YouTube page as well. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. But as always, guys, peace, cheers, and remember, just got to believe. Until next time.